Kitchen today, and we are canning huckleberry jam. So for you guys who don't live in the Pacific Northwest, huckleberries might be a foreign concept to you. They're something that grows very specifically in the Pacific Northwest. They're kind of like a wild blueberry. But they're way better. They only grow in this region because they need a very specific soil climate in order to thrive. They've been attempting to domesticate huckleberries for quite some time and they just can't. They require acidic volcanic soil, and they also require a symbiotic relationship with a specific type of mycorrhizae that only grow in pine forests. So you gotta have volcanic soil, pine forest, mushrooms, shady but sun, need enough moisture. They're picky and they are delicious. You can get a gallon of huckleberries at the farmer's market for $130. And don't ask me why huckleberries are the only fruit that are measured in volume instead of weight. But yeah, they're expensive because they're pretty difficult to find and time-consuming to forage. But if you have the time and the tenacity, you can get yourself free food. I always love getting food for free that is technically expensive. It makes me feel really cool. So I went up with my in-laws and we rented an Airbnb for the weekend. And we just went out and picked until we were tired, and then we came back and refueled and went out again. And I ended up with about 9 quarts of whole berries, which I'm very happy about. It was a good year for huckleberries. And most of that is just gonna be kept in the freezer to use for oatmeal and pancakes and muffins. I'm actually gonna make a batch of muffins after I'm done canning this jam. Foraging is a really great way to start practicing some self-sufficiency, especially in the kitchen. Now, we don't eat a ton of jam in my house, but what jam we do eat is mostly foraged. I've made a batch of strawberry jam, a batch of strawberry rhubarb jam, as well as this huckleberry jam. And I'll probably make some choke cherry and plum jam. And that'll be all the jam that we need for the year. Oh, this is so good. When you're thinking about foraging berries, it can be kind of overwhelming because, you know, where do you start? Where do you go? What do you do with them? I started with just you pick strawberries and raspberries. It's a safe spot to start. You can learn how to can. You don't have to worry about identifying or anything like that. Some of the wild fruit that I find and use for canning include huckleberries, obviously, choke cherries, elderberries, blackberries, wild black raspberries in the apartment complex that I live in. Stop giving me such a fuss. Friend. My goodness. The apartment complex that I live in has a row of decorative plum trees. They weren't intended for food preservation, but if no one picks these plums, they just fall on the ground and rot. So I started gathering them. A cool thing about all of the fruit that I've mentioned is that they are naturally high enough in pectin that you don't have to use pectin to make jam from them. So all it took for me to make this jam was thyme for the huckleberries, lemon juice, and sugar. And I know that making your own jam from fruit you've found is not full sufficiency, but it's a start and it's a step. And it's a place you can start. It's something you can do when you live in an apartment, if you have 50 acres. Not all free fruit you have to go into the woods of the Pacific Northwest to find. Blackberries grow on almost any roadside. Same with elderberries. If you just look out the window as you're driving, you'd probably find a lot of free food. I know I do. I was driving today and I had to stop on the side of the road because I was like, oh, is that a chokecherry? So, keep an eye out, learn where you can, and stay curious.